Hello everyone, welcome to Chatting with Olajumoke. It's always a pleasure having you join me. Right, so as you can see, I'm not doing this alone this week. I have with me a special someone that is dear to my heart. She is a lecturer, she is a pastor in TVA, she's a mom, she's a wife, she is a businesswoman. She's also the convener of Faith Freaks Fellowship. And above all, she is my very own sister, Omotoyosi Babalola. Welcome, welcome. It's nice having you here. I'm super excited.
Thank you so
Right,
much.
you guys are not ready for what we have today. Today we're going to be talking about insecurities. Insecurities. And so she's going to be dishing to us from our wealth of knowledge. Sit back and enjoy. All right, welcome again. Insecurities.
Yes.
Let's just talk generally about insecurities. What is insecurity? Give us examples of insecurities so that people that are watching this can relate to insecurities in their own different areas.
Well, insecurity is a very strong emotion. It's a negative emotion. It's something that most times has been there since maybe childhood. And when you don't nip it in the bud, it grows, and when it becomes fully grown, it becomes, you see that it start manifesting in someone being timid, someone being doubtful, fearful, and all. So insecurity manifests itself in several ways. You see a lot of children that they can't compete very well in school. They are insecure. You see a lot of people in relationships. It affects them. You're always looking after your spouse's phone. You're always, suspicious. Is insecurity. You see a lot of people that they cannot have a normal successful business dealing with anybody. They are so insecure. They feel everybody's out to dupe them and everything. So insecurity can manifest itself in any. It even happens to Christians too. You see some people that feel insecure because they feel that maybe they are not as spiritual as someone else, or maybe they just feel that their walk with God is not as nice as someone else's walk with God and all. So insecurity is just so multifaceted.
Yes.
So,
Some people feel they are not doing well enough.
Yeah.
So when they see other people that are doing better,
Better
than
than them,
they are
yes.
insecure.
Yes.
There are some people that they feel that they are not good enough
Yes.
physically. They have
looks, yes.
So
Appearance
insecurity is so
yes.
so massive.
You see a lot of people that go for surgeries, cosmetic surgeries and all. I'm not saying it's bad, but at the root of some of these things are insecurity. Because the truth is that someone is always going to be finer than you. Someone is always going to be slimmer than you. Someone is going to have an hourglass shape more than you.
Yeah.
You are not going to be the best looking person in the world.
Yes.
If you think you are the best looking person in the world, you probably haven't searched enough. So that is it. So you have to just come to a place of assurance and just say, I'm good enough.
I'm good enough.
Yes.
So say that to yourself, I'm good enough.
Good enough.
Right. Okay, so insecurity, when you talk about insecurity, some people feel that insecurity is just about ladies. It's just about insecurity. She's insecure. So I want you to let us know, is insecurity, does it cut across everybody? Every
It cuts across every gender.
every gender.
Yeah, guys are insecure. There are a lot of guys that are insecure. A lot of guys. Most guys that you see spending a lot of money on gadgets, on the latest cars. They want to buy the latest phone and all. Go and look at the root of that attitude is insecurity. They want to prove to the babes that I'm enough. Do you understand? They want to prove and all. So even guys that flirt around that are involved in with several ladies is insecurity.
They are just trying to cover up something.
Thank you. Is insecurity. There are a lot of guys that are insecure, but the only thing is that they know how to mask it better than ladies. So a lot of guys are insecure. Some hide under drugs. Some hide under a number of guys cannot even look at a lady in the eye
Without being
without being
They
eyed.
can't look at a lady in the
eye without being
eyed.
eyed. So that's it. So guys are really insecure too. Guys are really insecure.
Even if you see guys that beat up their girlfriends or their wives,
insecurity. Yes.
Because maybe they saw her talking to
Yes,
one man,
yes,
she came
yes,
home late,
yes,
something.
yes,
Insecurity.
yes,
So
that's
everybody, not only ladies are insecure, every gender. It cuts across every gender. Okay, so let's move forward. So what are the causes of insecurity? What are the roots? What is the root? What causes these things?
Just like every negative emotion, insecurity has a lot of causes. There are several. So, but for the purpose of just this communication, this discussion, I'm just going to mention a few. So, the first thing I'm going to mention with about the root cause of insecurity is comparison. Comparison. The Bible says they compare themselves with themselves. They measure themselves with themselves. They are not wise. They are foolish. So most times when we compare ourselves, I look at you, I look at what you're wearing, all of a sudden I start to look at what I'm wearing and I feel what I'm wearing is not good enough. I look at the kind of car you drive, I look at the kind of school your children go to and everything. So by the time I start to put you as a standard and I start to compare my life, compare my spouse, oh, this is what your husband bought for you for your birthday present, and I start to look at mine, that's it. That's where
Is it
insecurity
possible
starts
not to
from.
compare?
Well, it's difficult. It's difficult not to compare, but I guess you have to just get to that point where you just say, well, I'm not going to
Whatever I
compare.
have
Yes,
is
it's
good
good
enough.
enough.
Whatever I am
Yes.
is good enough.
Yeah, so comparison is a major
But if you're
one.
going to compare yourself with yourself. Compare your last year with this year, or compare yesterday with today.
Yes, and another thing about comparison, what you just said made me remember is that most times when we compare, we don't compare favorably. Like we don't compare. It's not a fair comparison. Most times we compare up. We don't compare
Compare
down.
down.
Do you understand? So you look at the very rich woman in your church, or maybe the GO's wife. You start comparing yourself with the GO's wife. For crying out loud, she's the GO's wife. She has more money than you have. She has more exposure. She probably has been doing these things, the old Geo's wife thing. She's been
Years
doing it.
before you.
Yes, so you just don't, you can't just come from nowhere and just think that this woman, she's a competition.
Let me give you my own example.
Okay.
Sometimes when I drive to my children's school, you see different cars, big cars, and then you look at yourself, this is my car now, wow. But at some point, I was talking to our other sister. I was telling her about this thing that I felt, and she was saying that all of you are paying the same school fees. So for you to be paying the same school fees, you have as much money as
They have. Yeah, it's just priorities.
It's just priorities.
Yeah, it's just priorities. Maybe at that point in your family, your priority is for something else, not for the car. So it doesn't mean that you are less of a person just because they have a finer car. So like what you said, so one person put it on Instagram one time that I don't know when they started using Bugatti for school run too. I didn't get the memo because the person apparently went to school and saw a Bugatti. I mean, how do you bring your kid with a Bugatti to school? Who does
and
that?
it gets to children.
Yeah.
Right? I was hearing somebody saying that the child was saying that, Daddy, don't use this kind of car to pick me
In
in
school
school
anymore.
tomorrow or anymore. And I'm like, wow. Because she has seen or he has seen the other cars that other parents bring, and the person she's already feeling insecure
At that age.
tender age.
So
And if it's not dealt
comparison,
with,
yes,
it would affect
it will
the
manifest,
person
yes,
in the
later
future.
in life.
Okay, so that's comparison. Right, let's move to other roots.
Okay, so apart from comparison, we also have background. The background, the upbringing of anyone has a lot of role to play in how the person eventually turns out. So you can't compare a child that went to Inyofoworogi grammar school or Feyibule grammar school with a child that probably went to Loyola Jesuit College. You cannot compare. So that background has already put them miles apart. So if both of them eventually find themselves maybe in a particular space, the child that went to Inyofoworogi grammar school will feel insecure. Poverty is a bastard. Poverty is a terrible thing because there will be lack of exposure, the education will be limited, and all those things. Education plays a vital role in giving a child self-confidence and esteem.
Yes.
If you give a child quality education, it will show. So background is very, very important. For people that had a terrible, rough background, it takes God's grace to be able to break from the stronghold of insecurity.
It takes a lot of working on yourself.
Yes, it does. It does, especially people that, for example, some people, I know people that they had the background of a broken home, and they felt probably, or people that have background of they were not wanted by their parents. Maybe they were what we call mistake, an unwanted pregnancy, and maybe the father always said it all the time that I didn't want you anymore or something, or their children that their parents just curse them and just say you good for nothing child and all that is background and is laying a foundation, a bad foundation for the child. So that kind of child, you can't compare that kind of child with a child that grew up in an atmosphere of love, that felt wanted, that felt like I belong here, that was given wings to fly. You can't compare.
So background is also a
It's
root
very,
cause.
very important.
Okay, what about undervaluing yourself?
Yes, undervaluing yourself.
I think it's somehow interwoven with background.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes, because
Because if you have a good background,
you will not undervalue yourself. The truth is that every human being that God has created has something that is called intrinsic worth.
okay, please can you tell us what that means?
Intrinsic worth means that as a human being, as I am, because I am created in the image and the likeness of God, whether I am something or nothing, I have worth as a human being. Just because I'm a human being, I should be respected. Just because I am not a goat or I'm not a dog, I should be respected. So maybe when you now know that probably I'm a lecturer, I'm married, I'm a mother and all, you can now increase the respect.
Okay.
But even without knowing anything about me, just meeting a human being on the road, you should respect that person.
Okay.
Whether it's a driver or a janitor.
Okay.
So you should respect that person.
So don't undervalue.
So don't undervalue anybody. Everybody has value. Everybody has value because they are created in the image and likeness of God. But when we do not know our worth as human beings, we undervalue ourselves. So because we undervalue ourselves, we sell ourselves cheap. We feel like every bad thing that is happening to me, I deserve it. I deserve it. I deserve the bad things that are happening to me. So we undervalue ourselves. So it's a major cause of insecurity. But when you value yourself, there's a way you carry yourself with charisma, with importance. You don't sell yourself cheap. You don't sell yourself. You see yourself that I'm important. I was bought with a price. You have that consciousness, and you carry yourself with that awareness that I'm important. So you don't allow anybody. You teach people how they should treat you.
Yes, yes. So valuing yourself doesn't have to do with the money you have in your
Yes,
bank account. It doesn't
yes.
have to do with the job that you do.
Yes, and
just
it's not
carry
pride.
yourself. It's
Yes,
not pride. Just
yes.
carry yourself. Value yourself. When
Yes.
people see the way you value yourself,
Yes.
that's the way they're going to treat
Yes,
you.
like in vernacular, they will say, "Boni baba she big by no she ma bag bay." So how you carry yourself is how they are going to carry you. So that's what it beats.
Fantastic, fantastic. I hope you're learning something, guys.
Yes.
All right. So, security in the wrong things. I think
Yeah.
it's also a root cause
Of
Can you just
insecurity,
explain
yes,
more?
is a root cause of insecurity when you put your when you put your security and your entire faith in the wrong things. The Bible says that we should not. The Bible says we should not put our mind on things below here, but on things above. So when we start to put our security in the houses, in the business, in the I don't know, in the investments and all those things,
In the cars you have,
in the
number of
cars you have, in the houses, in all those things, in the gadgets and all, I tell you, those things are vanity. They are ephemeral things. They are things that they are things that they are not it. They don't have eternal value. So all these things anything can happen to a house. Anything, the bank can claim a house. God forbid there could be a fire outbreak. Anything can happen to a car. A car can be stolen and all. So, but our security should be in the unshakable God. Our security should be in something that can never fail. Your business can fail. Investment can fail. We've heard of a lot of rich people in the world that have committed suicide because millions of dollars went down the drain because investment failed. Yes, of course, you where your treasure is, your heart will be there.
Yeah, sure.
So yes, so you put a measure of a measure of yourself in your investment, but it should not be where our security is. Our security should be in the secure God that cannot change and that cannot fail. That is where our security should be. It shouldn't be in material
Material
things.
things, not in
Yes.
the wrong things, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I think unrealistic standard
Yes.
is also
Yes, yeah,
interwoven.
yes, it's all interwoven. That's it. It's all interwoven. Most times we set unrealistic standard for ourselves. For example, we'd say that by the time I'm 30, I want to have all my children. I want to have a master's degree. I want to start my PhD in Harvard and everything. It's good to dream big. It's good to think big. It's good to aim high. But after all the big dreams and all, let's still be realistic. So they say when you set your goals, it should be smart, it should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be time bound, and all those things. So we should set smart goals, realistic goals, not things that are so, they call it white elephants. We should not set white elephant goals, goals that are utopian, that is probably not realistic. So when we set a very high standard for ourselves, you see yourself, you are just running from pillar to post, trying to meet up with that target, and before you know it, so why not just set bite-sized little goals for yourself? Just say, okay, maybe for example, you want to get fit, physically fit. So maybe you are presently on 100 kg. Instead of saying, by tomorrow I want to be like, give me a
40.
popular,
40.
okay,
Or size 8.
yes, a size 8, yes. Like I want to be a size 8 and you're currently a size 22 is an unrealistic goal. Why not first aim for a size 20? From 20 aim for a size 18. From 18 aim for gradually you get there. So
Yes.
let's not start set unrealistic goals for ourselves.
Yes, and talking about goals, I was reading a book and the person was saying it's good to set your goals, but the time that you put in that goal should be reasonable.
Yes.
Right. Okay, you want to probably have a group of company, for example, and you're giving yourself, you really don't have the means yet, and you're giving yourself 3 years. There's nothing God cannot do, but be realistic. So the time that you give yourself, let it make some sense. Then you pick it little by little. Do as far as you can see. When you get to the place where you can see, you stop there, then you can see further. For example, you're going to Ibadan. You go from here, you go to wherever you are, for example, you go to take some miles or something. By the time you get to that place, you can't see everything. You get there again, take another little step again, and before you know it, gradually
You get to your
there. So
destination,
being reasonable
Yes.
makes a lot of sense. Right. Okay. So moving on, rejection, abuse, rape, those things.
All those things are also root causes of insecurity. You cannot tell a lady that has been abused, that has been raped, and that has been molested not to just to snap out of insecurity that way. It's not possible because these things are negative emotions that have been entrenched because of terrible events that happened to them. Excuse me, when they were young and all. So these things they lock up in a part of their hearts. So they carry this burden all around and they feel they're insecure, they beat themselves up that probably they were the cause of whatever it is that happened to them and all. So, and like I said, I already gave an example of rejection. Somebody, for example, that the father said, I didn't want you, you were an unwanted pregnancy. I already planned that I'm having 2 children. You came as the third. I didn't want you. That is rejection. Or a child that finally finds out that probably the mom tried to abort her. That's a feeling of rejection. Or a person that you've been in a relationship, you have given your all for this guy or for this girl, and she eventually goes, or he eventually goes for somebody finer or somebody that is better than you. You have that feeling of rejection. So you just feel that I'm not good enough. So when you are rejected, you have that, you lock up and you feel insecure. But the truth is that failure is not final. It's not final. People reject people for different reasons. Rejection could also come from applying for jobs. I know what it means to apply for jobs. Your resume, they just throw it in the bin before you leave the place, or the MD looks at you and says,
You're not what we are looking for.
You are not what you are looking for. You are not. Those words, they are weighty. So if you are not careful, they can make you feel insecure, and you can just say, I don't think I'm cut off for this 9 to 5 thing. I don't think I'm employable. I don't think anybody will employ me. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I have any value to offer anybody.
I know
So,
someone that's even used that statement. She has been looking for a job for a while, and she just said, "I'll just go and learn something," because of rejection over and
over and over
again.
again. That's true.
Right. Okay,
So,
so guys, I think I want to know that you have looked into the mirror and you have seen one way or the other that this insecurity as applies to you. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to be talking about how you can overcome insecurity. Stay with us, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.